Welcome back, everyone, to the 515 Sports Pod at the 515 Sports Pod. I'm your host, Spencer Schultz, here with a mulletless Steph Stock and A. Hick. Stock, I know you had to take a drink of that water to try and cover up your smile. How you guys doing?
I'm good.
Pretty good.
Couple weeks removed from our last pod. Holidays caught up to us. I'm a few pounds heavier than I was last pod, but here we are to talk some more sports. In the meantime, the World Cup finished up. The second greatest soccer player ever finally got his World Cup. I'm just kidding. I don't think there's much debate. Fully cemented his status as GOAT. I think it wasn't even a debate before, but there's definitely not one now. Just give us your thoughts, Aaron. One of the best games we've ever seen, if not the best.
I think it is the best. It'll be hard to top that. Just the fact that Messi is the GOAT, Mbappe is the best player in the world right now. They both score multiple goals in a final. It's back and forth. It goes to PKs. I don't think that we'll ever see anything like that again, to be honest. That it was just everything you could have possibly dreamed that match would be. It lived up to all of the hype. And I don't know if there's ever been a game with that much hype that has lived up to it and more to that level that the Argentina-France final did.
I'd just like to announce again that I was the only one who picked the correct winner, and I know the least amount about soccer. So, like I said, it's just like March Madness. Typically, the person who knows the least wins, and I did. So, but on the game, I was in a hotel room in Denver watching the game because I was going to the Bronco game later that day, and neither of my parents care about soccer at all, especially my mom. She doesn't care about sports in general. And it's a really good game when they are like, we can't leave to go to the game yet. Like, we were going to go tailgating and they were like, we can't leave to go to the game. We have to see how this turns out. That just describes how good that game was. My mom just was as engaged into a sporting event as I've ever seen her. And that game, like you said, greatest soccer game of all time. It cemented Messi as the GOAT. And, I mean, it's crazy that I don't think the 2026 World Cup in the U.S. has any shot of living up to the 2022 World Cup.
I don't know. I think Aaron and I have talked about as good as the game. Probably the on-field games, you're probably right, but Qatar will still always be overshadowed by a lot of this stuff, just the corruption in it.
Yeah, that's fair. On the field more is what I mean. Like the games on the field, I don't know if you're ever going to have the 2026 even come close to how good that tournament was.
And speaking of Neymar's going to play, or he's going to try and he'll try and be there. Messi and Ronaldo, everyone just assumed they would both retire from international play, especially Messi since he won it, but they're still playing. Small hope for 2026. I doubt it, but it'd be cool to see them in the U.S.
Messi did say that he wants to continue playing as a champion. Now, whether that's to the next World Cup or it's like till the Copa America, we'll find out. But I think he'll probably at least play a couple more years because he wants to play as a champion.
Which, by the way, while we're on the topic of it, Messi was rumored to sign a huge deal with Inter Miami for a while, bringing him to the MLS. Ended up being too good to be true. I don't even know if it was a fake report or what. They said he never agreed to it, but he just signed an extension with PSG, so he will not be coming to the MLS for now. I thought it was a bit too good to be true, especially considering how good he's been this year. I just thought it'd be silly for him to come to the MLS with how good he still is. But
I think he does end his career at Inter Miami, though. Beckham owns the team. He has a home in Miami. He vacations to Miami a lot. I think when he's like 38, 39 years old, he plays a season or two for Miami.
Yeah, I think Ronaldo might come too. We'll see. Ronaldo just like Miami just screams the perfect city for Ronaldo. But
I
Ronaldo,
think on the 2026 World Cup,
hey, Ronaldo and Messi, if oh man, that would bring some eyes on the same team for once.
Bunch of bandwagon. There's gonna be people in Europe wearing Inter Miami shirts.
but on the 2026 World Cup and those guys playing in it, I don't see any way Ronaldo plays. Like he's what, 30, he was what, 37 right now? So 41. I just don't really see it. I could see a way Messi plays, but I kind of think he'll play the Copas and then in 2 years and then be done so he can play his final World Cup as a champion.
I think that's logically what happens. But like Messi's style of play is like he's one of the smartest players ever on top of being the greatest player ever. And he knows how to budget his energy so well that I could see that being something that could prolong his career just because he knows how to pick his spots. And I guess we'll see. But
Unless if Ronaldo has a come into Jesus moment with himself, I don't think he'll be there because I mean we've seen his reactions to getting just subbed off with Man U and Portugal this year, and then when he didn't start a few games for them in the tournament, we all know at 41 he wouldn't start a game.
and the guy who started over him had a hat trick and assist in his very first match. Like,
Yeah.
Sticking on before we move sports, Steph, I don't know if you'll be able to provide much one here. Aaron, just your quick top 4 prediction for the rest of the soccer season for the Prem and your Champions League winner.
Okay. The favorite I still think probably has to be Man City for champion. I'm talking Champions League right now. But I mean also the Prem. But Champions League on paper, like De Bruyne, Haaland, just they have to be the favorite, but they always find a way to choke in Champions League.
It should be that.
Yeah, and then like PSG, especially with this momentum coming off the World Cup, Messi and Mbappe back together again. Neymar has been great. You would think they'd, have a pretty good shot too, but they also always find a way to choke in Champions League. So it's like the two teams that I think should be the favorite just never seem to finish. But I would still say Man City's the favorite tentatively right now. We'll see as we're getting closer to maybe the round of 8 or the semifinals. We'll see how I feel about that. But I'd say Man City right now. Also, Man City for the Prem.
I agree. But Arsenal's got to start losing because they have 1 loss in 15 games. 1 loss, 1 draw, which is crazy.
Yeah. Top 4, I think Man City catches up to Arsenal, honestly. Newcastle, I could see them finishing like 5th, but I really don't think Newcastle finishes top 4. Maybe like in a year or two, but not right now. And then Tottenham, I just don't. I think it probably ends up being some combination, whatever order, of Man City, Arsenal, Man U, and Liverpool, with the Newcastle and Tottenham drop off. I think Chelsea will probably end up threatening. I think Chelsea probably ends up in that 5th spot, actually, Europa League team, unfortunately this year. But yeah, so top 5 will be some combination of Man City, Arsenal, Man U, Liverpool, Chelsea, I think.
And Liverpool just signed Stefan, you'll know this one. They just signed Cody Gakpo, the Netherlands World Cup star. Man U was rumored to be in on him for months, and then Liverpool swooped up and got him. Interesting fit because they have Luis Diaz, but he's out a few months, so he'll probably just slot in at left wing. And it seems like they got a real problem brewing with Darwin Nunez. He's quite the bottle of chances. While we're still on soccer, real quick, I would like to make an appearance on Talking Out Their Ass segment. And I would like Emi Martinez to be my subject here. in all of his mocking celebrations of Mbappe after Argentina won it. I didn't like this guy before. I knew he was a clown. Everybody loved his antics for the PK walk-ups, which I get it. It works. But this dude is a clown. This dude is mocking Mbappe on multiple instances. He didn't save one of Mbappe's shots. He scored 3 PKs and a goal on him. I don't know. And it's not like Mbappe was talking crap either. So that's my talking out their ass. You guys got any?
Oh, nah, I'm good, but I was gonna make a soccer announcement. But Aaron, if you have a talking out your ass, you can.
I don't think I do. I mean, I see so many people talking out their ass every day on Twitter that I just like forget them because
Yeah.
I'm just I'm desensitized to it. So
By the way, let's call this the Emmanuel Acho segment.
Yeah, we can do that.
Hey, the social media QB got his team to the playoffs like single-handedly. By the way,
and we'll see if Tua hurt. Like, I don't personally think he should play. We'll get into that in a little bit. But they're not like locked in. They're going the wrong direction ever since he really like started that propaganda, which is kind of funny. But my soccer thing, Aaron, Spencer has got me into it. I will be watching my first Premier League match tomorrow, and I'm officially announcing.
Guess who you guys? Okay, go ahead.
Wait, are you announcing who you're going to be a fan of? Because you can't decide who you're a fan of till you watch.
No, yep, I'm already announcing who I'm a fan of, and it's because of one player and one player only. I'm a Leeds United fan.
Hey, you have Aronson and Adams, and
Adams is the only reason why I'm a Leeds United fan.
And
I will follow that man wherever he goes.
And you have Jesse Marsh, who 2026 manager. Maybe.
Stephen, if you want to watch beautiful football, guess who you guys play tomorrow? Manchester City.
It's going to be a rough first match as a fan, but maybe we'll pull off an upset.
Tyler Adams is going to pocket KDB.
Leeds center backs are horrible, Stephen. So just Holland's going to bag a hat trick. All right. Anything else on soccer?
Real quick. Messi, where does he rank all time for athletes? And like off the top of your head, who are the top 5 athletes of all time?
So my top 5 athletes of all time. I'm gonna put Jordan 1. I know
LeBron, MJ, Tiger, Tom Brady, and Messi. That's not in order.
My top 5 is really similar. 4 of the 5. The only one that's not in there is LeBron. So I've got Jordan 1, Messi 2, Brady 3, Serena 4, Tiger 5.
I'm gonna go. This is not in order. MJ, Messi, Tiger, Michael Phelps. I wish I could have a top 6 because then I'd say Brady and Serena. But I feel like you have to have Michael Phelps in there somehow.
That's fair. And we also left off Wayne Gretzky, who's like without a doubt the greatest hockey player of all time.
Wayne Gretzky's. I think if you go to top 7, and man, I don't know if I can leave Muhammad Ali out either. Man, it's a tough one.
It's such a tough list because like we've just got to that.
Usain Bolt too. It's hard to leave Usain Bolt out of the top 5 because they're not mainstream sports, but in terms of the dominance, like we think Brady is dominant when it comes to American football. Michael Phelps and Usain Bolt, if they're in the competition, they won it. Like
we're talking dominance. Katie Ledecky owns like the top 22 times of all time.
Yeah,
I saw that, dude. That's nuts.
For like the 800 meter or whatever it is.
Yeah, she owns like the top 23 times.
Yeah, and she's still, how old is she now? She's not even like 30 years old yet.
Yeah, I think at one point she was 17 and had the top 5 times all time at
Yeah,
17.
So okay, maybe we should have done a top 10. It's hard to
Yeah,
rank that.
Yeah, that's very hard.
All right, let's move on to NBA real quick. Nets 15-2 in their last 17 games. Kyrie back in the fold. To be determined for how long until his next breakdown. KD playing well. Ben Simmons back in the flow of things. Are they for real? Are they contenders, Stefan?
Yes. And the reason is because they're finally playing defense. Ever since they fired Nash, they're 7th in the league in defense.
There's it right there, Steve Nash.
And look, Vaughn, what's his name? Jock Vaughn, I think is how you pronounce it, or something like that. He's done an exceptional job. He's got him to buy in defensively, and that's the big thing. Like, offense was never an issue with this team. A team with KD and Kyrie, you're never worried offensively. It's the defense, and they've bought in, and I think they can win the East. And if you can win the East, you can win it all because that's the tougher conference. I think the top 3 in the East is so close that whichever team gets to be on the opposite side of the other 2. So and the top 3 is the Celtics, Bucks, and Nets in my mind. If the 2 of those 3 are gonna have to match up in the second round, and whatever team's gonna get a matchup with the other team, I think is gonna come out because their second round series is gonna be that much easier. But yes, I think they can get to the finals.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, you think of how poorly they started the season, and now they're only 2 games back in the East. Like, they are a team that you don't want to come across right now. You do not want to see the Nets in the playoffs. I think the top 3, like you said, Stefan, is so obviously Celtics, Bucks, and Nets. But just a team with KD and Kyrie and Ben Simmons kind of picking things up. That's just a team that's first of all hard to guard, and second of all, like, there's a couple guys on that team that are all-time bucket getters. Like, last 5 minutes of the game, how are you going to stop them? And then, as much as KD is kind of a what, sometimes I'm not the biggest KD fan, being a Thunder fan. He kind of did what he needed to do with that whole Steve Nash situation. Like, shout out KD for getting that man out of town, because it clearly needed to happen if you look at how things have gone since his departure. So yeah, I think the Nets are definitely for real. It's not a coincidence with the way they've been playing lately.
Yeah, I agree. And their role players are playing there too. TJ Warren, Bubble TJ Warren's back. Claxton's been really good for them quietly this year. I don't know if it was the dreads or what. I know I chopped those off, but he's averaging 11 and 8. He's looking good. Yeah, I'd say they're contenders, but I'll still slot them below the Celtics and Bucks, just because I don't fully trust Kyrie for whatever reason. But yeah, moving on to the Lakers.
Real quick, you guys think the Cavs are for real? You think they're imposters?
I think they're a good team, but I don't think they can get to the finals.
You think they're better than the 76? Like, in the standings, they're better than the 76ers, but who would you rather face in the playoffs?
The Cavs. Embiid and Harden still scare me more than Mitchell and Garland.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's tough. Because the Cavs front court's freaking phenomenal. With I think a head-to-head between I don't know. I think I'd rather face the Cavs, but I think the Cavs would beat the Sixers head-to-head because Mobley and Allen, I think, would give Embiid enough fits in the front court. Yeah. I like the Cavs. They remind me of, like, I don't know. I don't even know if I have a good comparison. But yeah,
they remind me of that one team.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like the Heat, like good regular season team, maybe can sneak into the Eastern Conference Finals. I guess the Heat team even made it to the finals in the bubble, but yeah, I don't know. Life is tough in the NBA. You got to have. I mean, even after the Donovan Mitchell trade, I still don't. We probably still won't view them as title contenders. You guys still think they're one move away, or
Yeah, just
Yeah,
because I don't know if Mitchell's good enough to be the best player on a championship team. Like he's really good, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if he's the good enough to be the best player on a.
if you think do you think Devin Booker's good enough?
he's like a borderline, but I would
Yeah.
lean no. I would lean no,
I-
but he's borderline.
I think the Suns a couple of years ago was like the perfect way for him to be the best team or to be the best player on a championship team, and they still didn't get it done.
I lean yes, I think yes because
It also depends. It also depends on like who the second and third star are because CP3 is not like he's just not it right now. So yeah, there's guys who are like borderline in that tier who if the second star is like kind of playing up a tier from where they're usually at, then the math kind of evens out. But I don't know. Booker's kind of like an in-betweener for me.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, Lakers. Anthony Davis out indefinite amount of time. He's got an injury in his foot. It's a stress injury, not a fracture. But the whole situation just seems up in the air right now. I don't know if anybody knows. He's supposedly feeling better, but there's other reports that he could be out for months. I don't know. I think Lakers season is over, barring them making a huge trade at the deadline. They still got to get rid of Russ because they got to get some shooters in there. Pelinka just built the roster horribly. Another wasted season on the backside of LeBron's career.
Yeah, I'm just happy that the hate for Russ has died down. He's actually been pretty good this year. I mean, look, he's not what he once was, right? And it's tough for a superstar to go from that to something else. And I still view him as like he's actually been pretty good, but I think he has been. I think they could potentially sneak in as a play-in game. It's like the 10 potentially. And if that's the case, I mean, I'm not trying to. Hopefully, if AD's back by then, I'm not trying to see LeBron and AD in a one-game play-in. But that's really about all my hope. Shout out LeBron on a crazy streak that I don't know if he continued tonight. I know they beat the Magic. See if did he get to 30?
He had 28.
So his streak ended at 7, but props to him. Oldest player ever to have 7 straight 30-plus point games. Jordan was the previous at 4. So props to LeBron. That was a pretty crazy streak, and he's going to pass Kareem's point record here, I'd assume, in the next month or two, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, it just kind of sucks that LeBron's just kind of on a team that isn't relevant down the stretch of his career.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for the Lakers, I do think they need to trade Russ just because they do need shooters, even though Russ has been good. Like, he had a triple-double off the bench today, shot over 50%. Like, he's been playing well, and he's adjusted to that bench role really well, I think. But, like, I don't know. There's just not enough guys on the team that you can make a run with. Like, they need to trade Russ for multiple guys to try to make a run at anything. But I kind of agree with Spence that I think the AD injury this time around, I think, is kind of the nail in the coffin in this season. They could make a play in, but like, I don't know. I just haven't seen enough. I haven't seen enough to think that they will.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm just not a believer of the Kings and the Jazz keeping it up. they're 17 and 14 and 19 and 17 respectively, and both those teams I think aren't good, and I think they'll fall off. Which I mean that opens up 2 play-in spots, and right now they're a half game behind the Thunder for basically to be that second team that would move in ahead of them. So we'll see.
Yeah, this is a poorly constructed team. Yeah. All right, we'll move into college football, but we will first take a break, and we'll do college football and then NFL. Now moving into college football, we got the college football playoffs coming up this weekend, as well as your 6 bowls. A lot of good games, a lot of so-so games. We'll start off with let's start off with the non college football playoff games. Pull them up. What is that starts Saturday, right? Like Alabama K-State's the New Year's Six Bowl.
Yeah, I think there's a couple.
There's
on
a game.
Friday.
There's some on
one
Friday,
Friday,
too.
right?
Pretty sure the Orange Bowl is on Friday.
Yeah, Orange Bowl's Friday night.
Yeah.
All right, so instead of doing picks, I'm just gonna say it, and you guys say like Bama -5, Bama -5.5 against K-State. I'll say Bama -5.5.
I'll take K-State plus 5.5.
I'll also take K-State plus 5.5. Bulletin board material from Saban.
Tennessee, Clemson -4.5.
Clemson -4.5.
Clemson -4.5. No Hooker, and they lost a lot of their offense coaching staff.
And I think Clemson's a top 4 team in the country with Club Nick.
Okay, let's relax a little bit. Let's relax a little bit. But I would agree, Clemson -1.5. Kentucky slammed that plus 1.5 against Iowa.
Slam the under 2 of 31.
I'll be surprised if there's. I'll be surprised if a team gets 2 touchdowns. I'm not even joking.
Their over-unders, their total is exactly half of Ohio State, Georgia's. Penn State, Utah. Utah's -2.5. I am not only slamming Penn State plus 2.5, I'm slamming Penn State money line in the last traditional Rose Bowl ever.
Yeah, I like Penn State plus 2.5 and money line as well. They've destroyed everybody except for Ohio State and Michigan, who I think are 2 of the top 3 teams in the country.
I think I agree. Even though I think Rising is a lot better than Clifford, but I still am taking Penn State plus 2.5.
Let's see. Tulane, USC -1.5. I assume USC is without some starters. I know Addison's preparing for the draft. I'm still taking USC -1.5.
Yeah,
So I saw this line like Vegas has to think Caleb Williams isn't going to play, right? Because like if Caleb Williams is playing, I might make my biggest bet of all time at USC -1.5.
Why would Caleb Williams not play? He doesn't have an injury, does he?
He got hurt in the Big 12 or the Pac-12 title game. He played through it, but I don't know like if he's like how severe the injury is.
I still think in a New Year's Six Bowl, if he was able to finish that game, and he's had weeks since then, I think he's got to be playing.
Says he's likely to play.
Yeah, see, if he's playing,
he is gonna just do terrible things to Tulane.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you're giving me 1.5. They basically have to win the game at that point. Like if it's a 1-point game, then like sure, like tip of the cap. But a 1.5 point spread, I'm slamming that.
We might have to put together a spicy parlay.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the 6th one? Is it LSU Purdue? Is that a
No,
4?
there's 4, and then the playoffs is considered 2 of the 6 now.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. All right. Any other bowl games you guys want to talk about?
Oregon's minus 14.5 against Carolina.
Yeah.
That's a ton. And the over-under in that game is 74.5. And I think I'd take the over. Like Carolina already had no secondary, and then all the starters left.
I think Texas Washington will be an interesting game. And unsurprisingly, Vegas has Texas favored by 3.5, despite their 8-4 record versus 10-2 Washington.
Of course.
Yeah.
Kansas and Arkansas and the Liberty Bowls, somewhat interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I mean, I don't think it's going to be an interesting game to watch. I probably won't watch it, but Notre Dame, South Carolina could be a good game.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Bowl season just flying by. I haven't watched a single bowl game.
Yeah, same.
That's the way bowl season is now, to be honest. They just don't hit the same.
Yeah,
No,
I
they
remember
don't.
doing like bowl game picks like it was like March Madness type bracket where you put money into it.
Mhm.
I remember we did it one time through the school, Spence. We had like 25 guys in high school. Like I made it, I printed out a pick sheet and $5 each. I just could not imagine doing that now.
Baylor got slammed by Air Force.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so did Florida.
Let's look into the playoff game, starting with TCU Michigan here in Glendale. 2:00 my time. Michigan -8. I think I'm going to say Michigan -8. I think they cover.
Oh, this one's hard for me.
Yeah, I think Michigan wins.
Yeah, I think Michigan wins, but TCU, I think they just are so in every game. Like
if you told me Michigan won 31-24, I could see it. But I could also see Michigan winning 45-17.
I will say, no, maybe I won't say that. I was going to say, I think it's a Michigan blowout or a close TCU win, but I don't know. I think Michigan could have a close win too. I don't think TCU has a blowout win though. That definitely wouldn't happen.
I think I'm going to go Michigan -8. Yeah.
I'll be the one guy who says TCU +8, but I think Michigan wins.
I'm hoping it's a close game. Playoff games are more fun when they're close.
Ohio State, Georgia -7. I'm taking Ohio State +7.
Aaron?
I'm taking Ohio State +7.
Not only am I taking Ohio State +7, I'm taking Ohio State to win the game.
Wow. Yeah, I can see it for sure. I think I mean, for these two games being a 1-point differential in the lines, I think this game's going to be much closer. There's a reason it's at 6:00 or it's the later game.
For
I
sure.
will say, regardless of who wins, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jackson Smith. How do you pronounce it? Is it
Najigba? He opted out.
I don't know. Oh, he did? Okay. Well, I still think Marvin Harrison Smith goes off.
Yeah.
Or Marvin Harrison Jr. Why did I say Marvin Harrison Smith? Marvin Harrison Jr. goes off.
That'll be the matchup right there because Ringo's a top 20 pick.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's if Ohio State can protect Stroud, I think Ohio State wins the game. That's the key for me. Can Ohio State protect Stroud? If they can, I think they win.
And you think they do? You think they stop Jalen Carter?
Yeah, I think they stop him enough. Look, all Ohio State's heard for a month since they got destroyed by Michigan. They're not good. They're soft. and they have the talent to match Georgia, no doubt. They got the better quarterback. They've got the best player in the game in Marvin Harrison Jr. I think they're going to win because of just everything they've heard.
So Ohio State Michigan rematch. Woo!
Yeah.
The world might end on that
That's so similar to the Carolina Duke thing from a year ago in the Final Four.
Yeah. Alrighty. Anything else for college football?
Go Cyclones.
We had a good bowl season.
Have we talked Dion to Colorado yet?
No, we haven't.
I don't want to touch on
I
that.
think we might have.
No, because we haven't done a pod in a couple weeks, and that was less than a couple weeks ago.
Maybe we talked about the rumors.
Yeah, talked about the rumors.
We did talk about the rumors.
Yeah, I mean, because I remember talking about. I remember saying it. It's interesting just because it makes Colorado relevant, which.
We've seen it has.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say he's not gonna have like a Lincoln Riley immediate kind of impact, but coming into the Pac-12, which it was better this year, but I think you can make a quicker transformation in the Pac-12 than some of the other big conferences. We're already seeing huge recruiting classes. I think their expectations got to start 8-4 next year.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing, or I think the most interesting part will be, I don't want to mispronounce his name, but Shadur. How his son plays quarterback, because a lot of those guys are 5-star recruits and stuff. I'm not sure what Shadur was, but
he was a 4-star.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I don't have a worry about like Hunter because he was like a top recruit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll just be interesting transitioning from quarterback playing at Jackson State and those teams to in the Pac-12.
Did you see Fox Sports? Their betting site has him as the betting favorite to win the Heisman next year.
No.
I swear I saw it on Twitter.
Ahead of Caleb Williams?
Yes.
No way.
It's got to be like Caleb Williams, Drake May,
Marvin Harrison.
Maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. Maybe he could be fourth, but no.
I'd have Bo Nix is back. I'd take Bo Nix over him. They had him as the betting favorite. I was there's
I agree with
no way. Like, I think he's gonna be a good quarterback, but like Spence said, it'll be interesting to see the transition. I think their goal next year is to make a bowl game. They were one of the worst teams in Power 5. Like, that's the difference between like Lincoln Riley and going to USC. Like, they still have good talent there. Like, it's USC. Colorado was like 1-11, and they beat like a really bad team, I'm pretty sure.
I also want to mention, obviously the NIL stuff is just taking the transfer market. It's really essentially NFL free agency at this point. We saw the reports that multiple teams offered Drake May $5 million.
Georgia, Bama.
I can almost definitively say Bama was one of the two since Drake was committed there at one point, and they're losing Bryce Young. The other one I would say either Ohio State or Georgia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or who's the other one I mentioned?
Yeah, I think it was the two of the three of Bama, Georgia, and Ohio State. Two of those three.
Yeah. But also, I also want to mention Sam Hartman. I think this was his 5th year.
5th year junior, by the way. So he has 2 more years of eligibility.
So he just announced he hasn't announced, but it's circulating that he's going to be going to Notre Dame next year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a really good quarterback. So, yeah. All right, you guys ready for NFL?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, the picks up.
Let's start her off with Tua turned the ball over.
Bringing it from the group chat.
With his third concussion of the year. Well, according to Jackson Brandon, his second, but his third concussion of the year. I think after two already brings up concerns. 3, you're like, I think I've seen a bunch of talk about sitting him out the rest of the year. 2 weeks left. I think minimum you sit him out the rest of the regular season. Yeah, I mean this one I think. I don't know. I have a tough time blaming the sidelines because if Tua didn't self-report and the spotter didn't spot it, there's only so much the sidelines can do. They have their eyes on several things during the game, but yeah. What do you guys think? You think Tua should be sat the rest of the year?
Yeah, you got to save the guy from himself. And considering how they've managed him already this season, they've already looked terrible this season with how they've managed Tua. Like they have to sit him the rest of the season. Otherwise, they will be trashed so bad, worse than they already were earlier this season when they, the whole, what was it, like Thursday Night Football that happened.
Yeah.
So I think they have to sit him the rest of the season. I also want to point out, I saw this. I know there's all the turn the ball over memes, and I was saying that at the time too because he helped the Jets out a lot this weekend because I wanted the Packers to win that game. But the play that it looks like he got the concussion. Before that play, he was 9 of 12, 229 yards, 19.1 yards per attempt, a touchdown and no picks. And after that play where he slammed his helmet on the turf, he was 7 of 13, 81 yards, 6.2 yards per attempt, 0 touchdowns, and 3 picks. And if you see the interceptions that he was throwing, they were interceptions that a guy who cannot see straight would be throwing. A guy who is like seeing multiple guys like in and out of his vision on the field because he's so concussed. That's how bad those interceptions were. So I'm giving him a little bit of a break because I genuinely think he was playing with a terrible concussion, which, I mean, the film looks like he was because those interceptions were just beyond awful. So I think he truly didn't even know what he was throwing at.
Yeah, so I agree on the game side take. I'm going to give him a pass. I mean, look, we got Spence and I have a really good friend who's a big time Dolphins fan who we're still going to give him a bunch of crap for it. And so
Taco Bowl winner, Jackson Brandon.
Yep. Shout out Jackson. But look, like, yeah, if he actually was playing with a concussion and those stats, I've seen those stats on Twitter as well. Like, that's pretty drastic. So I'm not gonna knock him too much for it. But the side on should he play again this season? No. I wouldn't even play him in the playoffs if they get in. If so like we said, we think he's had 3 concussions. Officially, he's had 2. So, but even a third or a fourth concussion in a 4-month span, like, that's not good. Like, that's long-term permanent health, not even just potentially playing again next year, like long-term permanent health. So I think they got to do smart by him, especially if they truly believe he's their franchise quarterback going forward. And if you risk him getting either a third or a fourth concussion this year, like, he could just be done playing football forever, which isn't fair to him, regardless of what you think of him as a player.
Yeah, I agree. Transition to the Packers on a hot streak as of late. They're now up to 7-8. They have to win their last 2 and then get a little bit of help, I believe, to make it. Who do they have left? The Lions, and then this weekend they have the Vikings. Lions and Vikings. So 2 in division matchups. Do they make the playoffs?
I'm having a hard time picking yes or no because they just need Stefan, you said they just need the Commanders to lose one, right?
Yeah, because they have, for whatever, that's what they were saying on the broadcast, is that they have to win out and the Commanders have to lose once. So I don't know how factual it is. I haven't looked at anything, but that's what they were saying on the broadcast during their game.
Okay. Well, if that's true, the Commanders could lose to the Browns this weekend, but if they don't lose to the Browns this weekend, they probably lose to the Cowboys next weekend. And I think the Packers can beat the Vikings and the Lions. I'm not going to lock that in and say that they do, but I think those are two winnable games for them. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's entirely possible. It's kind of tough, though, because based on the way they've played this season, and then we've kind of talked about how Rodgers, when he's on, he's still like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. But when he's missing throws, it is awful, awful. So, but I mean, the Vikings have like the second or they might have moved up a spot. They had the worst pass defense in the NFL for a long time. They might be the second worst now. But I mean, anyone in the NFL can throw for over 300 yards on them. We just watched Daniel Jones do it. So, I mean, Rodgers could be going off in this one, and it's at Lambeau, which leaves the Lions, who I said the Vikings are either worst or second worst. The Lions are the other team in that equation. So Rodgers has really favorable matchups for the last 2 games. So I don't know. I think we might be seeing the Packers sneak in now that I think about those matchups. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's entirely possible.
I think it's possible. For me, the big question is, does Christian Watson play this week? He's their wide receiver 1, in my opinion. Has been down the stretch. If he plays, I like them to beat the Vikings this week. If he doesn't, I don't know. I think they still could. That's why I picked them. And eventually, like, here's the thing: there's 4 games down the stretch that matters to them. 3 of them have to go their way, and 2 of them have to be their own wins. Obviously, that's tough to happen. For it to happen, I think. So I'm not going to say yes, they make it, but it's Aaron Rodgers. We've seen this before, a couple years ago, and then he snuck in and then beat the Cowboys in the playoffs as well. So wouldn't be shocked to see it again. So yeah, I think they could get in, and if they do, I think they're very dangerous.
They've also won, I think they won like 15 or 16 straight in December, which that kind of speaks for itself. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say they do not make it in. They lose one of the final 2 games. I don't know. They're definitely playing. They're playing better football. Obviously, won 3 straight. They really played the Eagles tough on Sunday Night Football. And what was their last loss, and then also beat the Cowboys 2 weeks before that. Yeah, I mean, they're a dangerous team, especially in the NFC that only is pretty top heavy with the Eagles and 49ers, I'd say. But yeah,
Interesting.
Packers
You're not putting the Cowboys in that category.
Nah, I don't think so.
the Cowboys are a tier below those teams, like firmly a tier below, in my opinion.
Yeah, just
Wow.
because the 49er defense is a step up, and yeah, I wasn't sure on Brock, but Brock's looked good enough to, I think, lead them to a Super
Also,
Bowl.
and in back-to-back weeks, the Cowboys defense has been absolutely shredded. One time it was by the Jaguars, and the other time it was by the Gardner Minshew Eagles. Like, their defense is looking very vulnerable right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cowboys are definitely they're still third though, easily. What was our next topic?
I think just picks.
Next topic, just picks.
Yep.
Did you guys have any MVP
Well, do you want to talk? I was gonna say, you want to speak your piece on Hackett, Stefan?
Oh yeah, Hackett. Okay, actually, we'll do this. Since we've only got 7 minutes left on this recording, we'll make a couple different topics and then do picks in the next video. Hackett fired finally. Look, when you got guys fighting on the sideline, you got to go. Especially when it's your backup quarterback in your pedestrian left guard who's still only starting because he's from Colorado. Just not a good look. You got to go, and your defense looks like it finally quit. Had been a top flight defense all year and then just couldn't stop a Baker Mayfield led Rams team whose top weapon was Tyler Higbee. 51 points. Yeah, it was time to go. I'm excited. I guess here's the thing. Like, you're not going to know in the next 2 weeks, obviously, because it's still Hackett's playbook. You're not putting in a new playbook, etc. But now, next year, no excuses for Russ. I don't believe they're gonna hire somebody new. I believe they're gonna hire a former coach because they've gone the new route. Hasn't worked with the last 3 hires. I think they're gonna go with the proven coach before, whether it be a Frank Reich, a dream scenario of Sean Payton or Jim Harbaugh, a Dan Quinn, something like that. There's no excuses for Russ. If he's this bad again, it's on Russ. There's no excuse that it's Hackett. So, I mean, I'm going to convince myself after the hiring that it was Hackett. Russ is going to be back to being Russ. And they're going to be a playoff contender. We'll see how true it is. But I'm happy he's gone. They made the right decision. And we're moving forward from a lost season.
All right, quick MVP rankings before we do our picks.
I think it's Mahomes going away now. Hurts missing a game, I think just kind of sealed it. Especially if he misses this week too. I think it's got to be Mahomes. So yeah, at this point, I think it's Mahomes pretty easily.
Jetta's top 3.
Okay, Mahomes is far and away one, like far and away.
I'd say Burrow 2.
Burrow 2 and Josh Allen is probably 3. But like, oh my God, sometimes Josh Allen just forgets how to play quarterback. Like the talent he has and the plays that he makes are so incredible. And then he has just horrendous interceptions, terrible interceptions. But I still think that he's 3rd. But yeah, I agree with Burrow too.
I mean, I'm still gonna put Hurts in the top 3. I'm fine with Burrow being 3rd or even 2nd, but to me, Hurts is still in the top 3. He just can't win it anymore.
Probably gonna miss another game though. If he misses this week, I'd put Jett as 3rd.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think. Maybe I'd put Jefferson 3rd. Jefferson is for sure Offensive Player of the Year. That's an easy one.
Let's do quick picks on a few of the games, and we'll talk at length about the Bills-Bengals game of the week, Monday Night Football. First,
before we do that, I got one more thing. Aaron, Spence and I have been on the train, the Trevor Lawrence train, the Prince that was promised. Shout out Nick Wright. Love that nickname, by the way. Are you a believer in the Jags at this point? And Trevor Lawrence specifically.
I'm a believer in the Jags winning the garbage AFC South, but I'm not like a believer in the Jags per se. Like maybe like next year, but I mean Trevor Lawrence looks really good, and Doug Peterson deserves credit. His play calling's been great. He has put in Trevor Lawrence in great situations. So shout out Doug Peterson. But like being a believer in Trevor Lawrence and being a believer in the Jags are 2 different things. I'm a believer in Trevor Lawrence. I'm not a believer in the Jaguars right now. We'll see what happens next season.
Here's my bold prediction. If the Jags get in, they beat the Chargers in round 1. All right, we can do quick picks.
I can
on
see
a
it.
couple
I can
games.
see it. I can see it.
All right, Dolphins, Patriots. We got Dolphins across the board. Jets, Seahawks. Aaron's got his own Jets. I got Jets as well with Mike White, presumably back and in the lineup. Zach Wilson returns to a game day inactive. Stock's got the Seahawks at home. Vikings at Packers. You two pick Packers. I still got Vikings. I still think they're a better team. What was our other game?
We were gonna do Bucks Panthers just because of how bad. I mean, it's for the play. It's for the division.
All right, Bills at Bengals, Monday Night Football. Bengals in Fuego. I'm still taking Bills, mainly because you guys took Bengals. So I'm not. I mean, I think this is pretty much a pick 'em, which Bills are favored by 1. Josh Allen's, as Aaron said, has had some hiccups. Hasn't been great by Josh Allen standards. I'm gonna look for a big Stephon Diggs game here because he's been really slow, or just had a down 2 or 3 weeks. So, yeah, I'm gonna look for the Bills to win this one.
Bills got to win to get the 1 seed, which I think they need if they want to get to the Super Bowl. So interesting game. I just think the Bengals might be the best team in the league right now. So that's why I went with them.
You said you think they need home field advantage if they want to make the Super Bowl?
Yeah. I don't think they can go to – if they lose this game, not only do they fall from the 1, they fall all the way to the 3 because then they don't have the tiebreak on the Bengals. So now they're playing 2 road games. They got to go to Cincinnati again and then to Kansas City. I don't think they're going back-to-back on the road against Burrow and Mahomes.
I agree with that.
So I think they got to win this game to get the 1 seed. And that's the only way I think they can get to the Super Bowl.
Hey, it's tough to beat a good team twice. Bengals beat them. They're not going to beat them again in the playoffs.
Okay, Bills aren't going to Arrowhead and beating Mahomes twice in the season either.
We'll see. All right. Follow us on Twitter at the515SportsPod. Tune in next week to our episode. Peace.